Every October, Lauren and her husband Mike took a scenic drive through the countryside to admire the fall colors. This year was no different, and the rolling hills were ablaze with reds, oranges, and yellows as the leaves turned. They found a road they had never taken before, a narrow path winding through dense woods. The map on Lauren's phone showed nothing unusual, but the road seemed deserted. As they drove deeper, the colors of the trees became muted, and a thick fog rolled in, blanketing the road. The GPS lost signal, and their car's headlights seemed dimmer, as if the darkness was swallowing them. They hadn't passed any other cars or houses in miles. Just when Lauren suggested turning back, they saw a figure ahead in the road. An elderly man in a tattered coat stood by an old, rusted truck that looked like it hadn't run in decades. He didn't wave or signal for help, just stood there, watching as they approached. Feeling uneasy, Mike slowed down but didn't stop. As they passed him, Lauren glanced in the rearview mirror. The man was gone. There was no truck, no sign anyone had ever been there. Shaken, they turned around to head back to the main road, but the narrow road seemed to stretch on forever, the fog growing thicker, the woods pressing in around them. After what felt like hours, they finally emerged back into the light of the afternoon, the colors of fall returning. Later, they learned that road was known locally as Widow's Hollow, a place where strange occurrences were common in October. No one had driven down it in years, not since a fatal accident involving an old man and his truck decades ago. Every year, the small town of Maple Creek held its annual October Harvest Festival. The main attraction was the hayride through Old Smith's farm, which had been running for generations. Families came from miles around to enjoy the ride, bundled up in sweaters, sipping cider, and watching the sunset over the golden fields. This year, 16-year-old Sarah volunteered to help with the festival. She was tasked with leading the last hayride of the evening. It was close to dusk, and the group of kids she was leading was excited for the spooky stories told as they passed through the woods. Halfway through the ride, as they entered a dark patch of forest, the tractor pulling the wagon suddenly stopped. The driver tried to restart it, but the engine wouldn't turn over. "This happens sometimes," he said, and hopped off to check the engine, leaving Sarah in charge of keeping the kids calm. Suddenly, the woods around them grew unnaturally quiet. No wind, no rustling leaves. Just silence. Then, one of the kids pointed into the trees. "What's that?" he asked, his voice trembling. Sarah turned to see a figure standing just beyond the tree line. It was tall, with long, twisted limbs, and its face was obscured by the shadows. The figure didn't move, but Sarah felt an intense dread wash over her. She tried to laugh it off as a scarecrow left by the farmers, but deep down, she knew it wasn't. The tractor engine roared back to life, and the figure vanished as quickly as it had appeared. The hayride continued, and the kids soon forgot about the strange figure. But Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something had been watching them, something that only appeared in the deep woods of Maple Creek every October.